Hello, everybody, and good morning. Welcome here at Adobe Live. I'm here with the wonderful Courtney Thomas. Hi, Courtney. Lovely to see you.
Hi, Claudia. Good to see you too.
We are on our day two exploring the wonderful Creative Cloud Express, learning how to make standout graphics and much more with Courtney. We learned a little bit about her wonderful energy and her experience as an actress, as social media manager, and much more. And today we're going to learn how to create and manage a brand together. But before we get started, Courtney, let me just say hi to the chat real quick. If we're watching from YouTube or Behance, thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to keep your questions coming. I'm your host, Claudia. I'm so happy to be here. And don't forget to watch this stream and the replays and much more content on the brand new Creative Cloud Express YouTube channel. It's filled with so many inspirational and how-to videos. So subscribe and make sure to follow that videos in order to get started and to learn even more. But let's focus on today's content. Tell us more, Courtney. I'm super excited to learn what we're going to be working on today.
Yes, we're going to be working on creative, cohesive content through Creative Cloud Express. As you mentioned, I am an actress, but when I'm not acting, I'm doing social media management and social media consulting for different clients. Sometimes they're large companies. And this one in particular that I want to show you, she is an incredible woman with a startup, a history maker herself named Julia Collins. And I am creating content for her for Black History Month. So I decided that George Washington Carver, I think, would be a really good focus for today. So this is Black history of the past coming into the future and the present. Julia Collins is known as the first Black person to found a unicorn company. I didn't even know what that was until I met her a year ago and we started working together. But a unicorn company or a unicorn is someone who founds a company that's valued at over $1 billion. And apparently there's less than a handful of unicorn companies at this point. And she has founded one of them and didn't mean to be, but turned out she is the first Black person to accomplish this milestone. So I do her social media for her personal page in tandem with her brand. And so the challenge has been, it's a wonderful challenge, is to create cohesive content that flows with her brand that has a separate Instagram page and make it align with her as the leader and the founder. And there's this great new feature on Instagram. I'm going to head to her Instagram very quickly. Follow her at Julia E. Collins. There's a great collab feature that you may know about that helps this creative, cohesive content really live together on the platform that I designed for her. So hopping right in, as I mentioned.
Exciting. Did you know her before? Did you?
I didn't know her, but we discovered that we've been circling each other, having both grown up in the Bay Area. My mother is a dentist, her grandfather is a dentist, and even my mother was influenced by her grandfather's teaching. So it's history Wonderful. Is living and breathing around us. So I didn't know her, but I knew her. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
Great. So I started designing, and I believe this to be true, design is one big experiment. And so first things first, I set up her brand, in my Creative Cloud Express account. So let's click through. And the way that we define a brand here at Creative Cloud Express, it consists of logos, colors, and fonts. So we went through, we can see her signature here. You can add your own colors for your brand here. There's a whole palette available to you. You can just add, you can add the hex code here. So these are the ones that she and I landed on that will be the base of every design that we do. And the font is, of course, as well, the font from her company that we decided we wanted to use as well. So moving in, I set up the brand and I swear it saved my life. It saved my time and it saved my life. As you can see, you can set up libraries for each of your brands. See, I have one here from Creative Cloud Express. I've got my own library for another brand that I've worked on, another theater company. So it's great to be able to separate these out. Heading into Julia's, I was able to create templates and then make them as the base for whatever we're going to create. So this is what we're going to create from today. And I just want to show you very quickly how you can also add your different assets. I like to add a lot of transparent PNGs or different design assets here. So you don't have to go through the Google Drive folder. You don't have to go and scurry through your phone to find that cool thing that you saw that you want to add to your design. You can go ahead and add it directly into your Creative Cloud Express account. Makes designing so simple. So we're going to start from this template today that I created. And I created this template based on another template that I found with Adobe Spark. This is an error message, honestly, that's popping up that doesn't actually impact what's happening with us today. And I think it has something to do with the overall brand switchover that happened for the Creative Cloud tool that we're using. So please ignore that. But I made this design using this design element here that it reminded me of a piece of land. So I went ahead and I blew it up and I made it look like a hill. And then these elements here came from her company as well. I had their marketing team share some assets with me, but you can find this type of element easily in icons for Adobe Spark. Creative Cloud Express.
Our wonderful brand new Creative Cloud Express.
Creative Cloud Express. And so here's some similar design elements that you could find that I've popped in that they've provided for me. So this did really, really well. When I posted it on her account a few months ago, the app told me very clearly in the insights that we got 40 followers off of this one post. So that's the type of behavior that we want to continue to mimic. So again, I want to not only have more templates that look like this, but I want them to also have the same impact. So creating from the templates, I'm going to head back to the projects that we're starting from. And as I mentioned, I wanted to start with George Washington Carver because Julia's company and her mission has everything to do with regenerative farming and regenerative agriculture, which is a method of farming that actually puts nutrients back into the soil and that can help us with some of the climate change issues that we're seeing in the world. And so her platform, she wants to use her voice for that message. So her brand just commissioned this illustration of George Washington Carver and a farmer who is alive today, doing well, and not only tells about the history of George Washington Carver, but her whole method of farming is around his science. And I don't know if anyone is familiar with George Washington Carver and what he is most famous for, and I'm so curious, Claudia, please let me know if anyone in the comments can tell me what they know him for. But typically he's mostly known for, inventing peanut butter, I think is his main claim to fame, but it's so much bigger. He's so much bigger than just peanuts. And I don't want to call them just peanuts because what he discovered was that peanuts are another type of crop that you can plant that will help with the health of your soil. So this all bleeds into Julia's brand so beautifully. So I wanted to pay tribute to him. And I wanted to start here, actually. This is where we're going to start. So this is the design that was handed to me by her marketing team. So I said, great, let's start with removing the background because I like the blue. The blue is part of Julia's brand as well. But at first, I want to start with the absolute bare, just the design, the illustration itself. Like I said yesterday, I pretty much like to start with the image and then begin to design around that. So I'm using the remove cutout again. It did a great clean job, so I don't need to do any edits to the cutout. Now I'm going to head up and download this PNG as a PNG. And as you can see, you have the options here for a JPEG, for a PDF. These things are just depending on where they're going to land. Again, the PNG is going to give you a higher resolution. It's also going to give me the option to download it as a transparent PNG, which you'll see what I'll do with that in a second. So I'm downloading it.
And in the chat, sorry, but we have just peanuts. And
peanuts.
Cody Bear saying, yes. Regenerative, I can't even pronounce it. Regenerative agriculture.
Yes,
wonderful.
It's the way of the future and it's the way of the past, honestly. Like we really just need to learn from.
I love that you're bringing so much history together and I'm so happy that we are together here celebrating Black History Month. So it's beautiful because we're learning, because even yesterday you gifted us with so much extra knowledge.
It's
so
all
not only we're
connected.
making awesome designs, but we also learned so much. Thank you, Courtney, for
Absolutely,
sharing.
no problem. So this is where we're going to land, but I'm going to take us back so you can see how we got to this process again. So I'm going to start to create, and I'm going to start to create remixing this guy here. So I took what I've already created, a successful design. Like I said, please ignore these following things. I think these are just something I need to write in about. And as I mentioned, I want to add in that image. So let's start there. Let's go to photos. Let's go to upload photo. And here we are. And
so
there's
right away you
beautiful,
download and bring it up right away in the design.
And bring it up right away. That's a great way to pull in your elements, and you're creating elements for your own design. I think the power is endless. So let's see. I already like how the green here is complementing the green here. I did mention that sometimes you can change the color of your assets that you find, but in the case of this one, I can't change the color, but what I can do is I can add a filter. And that can get me a little bit closer to something that will be cohesive with the original design, but also really help pop and highlight this new design that we're creating. So I'm going to choose to lighten it. That one I don't love. This one, it's giving me that lighter green. So I'm going to stick with that. These elements, this is something new I learned in design recently as I'm trying to continue to grow, but it's every piece of an element is a potential for art. So as I expand this, we're not going to end up seeing most of this element, but I just want to focus on this portion that makes it look like a hill. It makes it look like land. It makes it look like farming. And so again, I'm just alluding to what these two individuals that we are trying to honor, what their message really is. Now I added in the we, and I'll show you again how I super simply was able to add that. So we can go to libraries. I'm going to click on Julia Collins. Look at this. This is so much easier than trying to go to Google Drive. And this is her brand Moonshot Snacks. The process by which these crackers are made is through regenerative agriculture, and they are delicious as a result. So if you want to buy something Black owned for Black History Month, I recommend starting with Moonshot Snacks.
Let's give it a big shout out. And they look so yummy. We were showing the photo before. I was like,
so delicious. I dare you to not eat one box in a whole sit, in just one sitting. I dare you. But again, these are all the elements, and you just click here. It looks a little pixelated on this side, but as you can see, it just cleared right up. So I could add more here. Let's just play with it and see. I'm probably going to end up, I want to remove this one. I think the one on the top is a little extra at this point. So I just hit the backspace button to delete that. And if you delete something by accident, you're like, wait, actually, I'd like that. You can undo it and it'll come right back. Many a design has been saved with this undo button. I know someone out there can speak to that.
Oh yes, you can make and try and experiment. That's what I love about doing and undoing, because sometimes I just experiment, and then I even download like a PNG like you did, and then I just go back to the previous version. But I had a question. The beauty of the library is that is that one that you created or was shared with you? Because we can share libraries.
We can share libraries. I created this one, and these assets are from her company, so I can't share this one specifically with you all, but I'm hoping by the end of our time together this week, I'll have a library of assets to share with you. I don't want to overpromise.
Super exciting.
I don't want to overpromise.
The beauty is that it's possible with Creative Cloud Express. So we can see how easy it is to access content and to store it. You're very organized.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. It's been a process. It's been a few years, and getting organized with folders. I'm just heading over here very quickly to grab the quote that I'm going to change out. This is Julia's quote from an article, an interview that she did that just hit it out of the park with people on National Farmers Day. She was giving great honor to the indigenous people of the Americas, and how it was actually their land cultivation they're the original climate scientists, is what she is saying? Okay, so I changed out the quote, right? Now, as you can see, the quote's sitting behind. We got to clean up our design. It's time. We've added all the elements. Now it's time to clean up the design. So I'm clicking here. Do you guys see in this right-hand corner where I'm about to open up the layers of my design? Oh, you're going to ask something, Claudia?
I just wanted to mention real quick, Barbara is asking how to get Creative Cloud Express. So Creative Cloud Express is available for web on your web browser and on your mobile. So it's an app on your mobile. You can access it on a web browser by heading to express.adobe.com. Barbara was asking how to get it on an iMac. So hopefully that answer is helpful. If you have any other questions, stick around because we can maybe wrap it up at the end and get some questions answered at the end of the stream.
Absolutely. Great question. So in case you just want to know what I just did, I moved the order of the elements and I'm moving the words to the top here just by dragging and dropping. You can also do, I believe used to be able to do the same process, but I like this process better. It used to be a sliding scale, but this is much easier. Look at all these updates. Look at all these updates, team. I see you. Okay, so this is a bit of a long quote. So I'm going to chop it in half in a way that makes sense. And I'm going to end up doing a carousel post, I believe, so that we can swipe and get the whole. So that's first. We're going to make it less wordy. We're going to let our design breathe. I learned that during Adobe Max last year from one of my fellow Creative Cloud Express ambassadors, Shine Webster, who is a fantastic designer. And as somebody, again, who doesn't have formal training in design, these types of peer learnings are very valuable to me. And so one of my biggest takeaways that I want to give to you is let your design breathe. And we're gonna open the space.
And you don't need to be a designer.
You don't need to be a designer because the Creative Cloud Express team is designing for you. Great. So this quote, I chose this quote because it aligns so greatly with Julia's mission. So again, this is the cohesion. It's in the design, it's in the quote picking, it's in everything. The rapid growth of industry, the ever increasing population, and imperative need for a more varied, wholesome, and nourishing foodstuff makes it all the more necessary to exhaust every means at our command to fill. And I'm gonna cut the quote here and go ... to fill the empty dinner pail, enrich our soils, bring greater wealth and influence to our beautiful Southland, which is synonymous, and they're telling me it's spelled wrong, but then I don't know how to spell it, to a healthy and happy and contented people. That's Julia's mission in a nutshell. No pun intended, in a peanut shell. So I'm going to cut that. I have it pasted somewhere else so that I can pull it back. But this is a little easier for my people to read. Oh, other funny thing, when we were discussing this, she actually doesn't like this font. So I'm going to choose a thinner font. There we go. She's more into that.
More readable. And again, that's the beauty of just, downloading a PNG with one font and just send it for approval and then get back and edit it because the project is saved there for you.
I swear my clients remain impressed by how quickly I can make changes for them. I think they think I'm doing something that I'm not, and I'm going to let them believe it. But
Of course.
It's so easy to text this to her and her to say, oh, I don't like that blue, or like, no. And actually, you know what? She doesn't like the signature either, is what I discovered. So we're just going to delete that. I am going to keep this tag here at Julia Collins, and I'll make sure to put it like in this corner here. I don't want to make it seem like I'm attributing this quote to her. So I'll make sure, I think it's pretty clear. You guys let me know. If you saw this graphic, would you think that she said it, or would you think that one of these two said it? And I'm going to keep Leah Penniman, the farmer who's honoring his work by actually doing it today, because I'm not able to just crop the George Washington carver. They had this illustration commissioned together. So I'm going to leave it, and I'll probably end up throwing a quote from Leah Penniman in this, but let's focus on our George Washington quote for now. She's done a lot of great research.
Just so you know, Courtney, we have about 4 minutes.
Love it, because we're almost done. We are almost done. As I mentioned, I'm going to let this design breathe. There's a lot of wheat. There's a lot of things going on here. So I'm going to let the design breathe like this. but I also want to show you another cool way to add depth to your design. I'm going to take this one away. I know we just added it, and I actually want to rotate this guy a little bit in. Great, great, great. Okay. Now, this backdrop color, it was nice when it was nice. Now, what we're going to do very easily, remember those colors that I talked about in the brand? Look how they pop up right there. And as I mentioned yesterday, the current color palette that I'm using is also popping up, but I can just that quickly change the color, slight blue difference. Let me know if you guys have a preference on that. But this, I was playing around with it last night, and I was like, this is it, because what's ending up happening with the design, he looks like the sun. Both these farmers look like the sun in the design, right?
That's so beautiful.
Exactly. And so this is definitely first frame worthy. I mean, this, I feel like I'm ready to send to her. So the next part of what I'll do very quickly is I just want to show you all how to add credit, because while this is a great quote, I think what will add to your credibility as a design, as a thought leader, as a communicator, is letting people know where you got your information. So here's the second half of that quote. Again, ignore this moment right now. Ignore. So went ahead, changed the quote over. As I mentioned, I'm going to change, let's see, the filters a bit, lighten it. Beautiful. Take this guy away. This one doesn't have to be an exact match to what we were doing on the other one. So let's just, give it essence, changing the color. Beautiful. I think we want the lighter one. Let's double check that. Great. And actually, George Washington Carver, this was a letter that he wrote, and he signed it off yours truly. And there's a personal touch to that I really like. So I'm editing the text here. It's not giving me space. So here's what you can do when that's not happening. I want to give a little bit of more breathing room between the sign off and the quote itself. So I'm going to move that up, add text, and just like that.
Brilliant.
Boom. I'm going to resize it. Excellent. I'll play around with the placement of that. Love this. Great. And as I mentioned, to add a little more depth to your design, on these icons, there we go. You see this toolbar here? This is gonna change is it opacity or opacity? How do you say it, Claudia?
Oh, I'm Italian, so I can tell you. I can tell you have to say it in Italian.
Well, whatever you say it, however you say it, here's how you decrease it so that, again, you can bring the focus up. And I chose 47, I think, when I was designing earlier. So I'll stay consistent with that. This just allows you to have the same elements that amplify the message of the design, but still allow the words to come forward and center. So here we are. This is the design. This is
beautiful.
I'm proud to send this to my client and say, hey, how do you feel about this? Maybe we can do a little more reading and find another quote. You hit download. And for this one, we're going to download it as a solid color. I tend to download PNGs, again, because higher resolution, higher pixelation, but JPEGs are just fine. PDF format, if you need to, it's also there for you. So
we did two, not only one, two. We managed to express this beautiful concept and all this beautiful knowledge and sharing the quotes. That's so amazing.
And I'm just going to change the name of the file so I can stay nice and organized. And this, let me show you how easy it is to drag and drop designs like these into a folder. You just select, and look at that. We're organized.
Perfect. And I think we have pretty much like 30 seconds before wrapping up. Do you want to show how to create a folder? I don't know if...
Share the creative folder, you said?
Yeah, I think it's just like a button with a folder on the top.
Oh yeah, I'm right in here. Yes, so here is her folder, and here are all the different designs that I have worked on in Creative Cloud Express. This one I love. She does venture capital fundraising for her company, and the Olympics are going on right now. So I saw this is one of the investors in her company. So they asked, or ESPN asked, name something that isn't an Olympic sport but feels like an Olympic sport, and they wrote fundraising. And I just sent that to her recently, and she thinks it's really funny. So we're going to post that this week as well.
And all of that made super quick and super fast using Adobe Creative Cloud Express. Courtney, the time is gone. I don't know where. You have been absolutely amazing today, showing us how to create no one but two social media assets. And really, it was great the way that you made that consistency of the brand and how we use the brand assets. And at the same time, we celebrated together Black History Month, and we learned so much stuff. I learned quite a lot today as well myself.
I'm so glad.
Thank you so much for being here with us. We're going to be together back at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. But don't worry, if you are watching on YouTube or on Behance, there is still a ton of wonderful creative content coming your way. Don't forget to learn more about Creative Cloud Express with inspirational videos and how-to on the YouTube video, and subscribe to make sure to always get to know the latest features. But if you're watching on Behance, go and get a glass of water and come back, because there is a full day, busy day with so many creative people here at Adobe Live. Courtney, I will catch you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
On Thursday. I'll catch you Thursday.
On Thursday. That's correct.
Yes.
We're going to be together on Thursday.
Thank you again.
Super excited to be with you and to share this time together. And thank you so much for everybody joining us here during the stream.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Everybody. Thank
Bye.
you.